Is this? Yes. And I put, when I think the presentation will be laid out, so there are some links, the gray boxes there, where you can put on there some films and some more informations. So it's very important, and there's a lot of value in BIM for the client, but unfortunately we are the one knowing the less about BIM normally. Now in my department we know something, but as said before, the client is getting the model, and what we do with the model, we just put it on our hard disk and then we wait. So I really try to use this data again in facility management. So I try to get, during my presentation, to give you a little bit of the context where I'm working in, because I think it's very important to understand the client and how the client is working, also with the processes and all those things. And just try to explain why BIM is creating value for us. And then I try to explain the last 5 years what we done and we should not have done, so we learned, and the lessons learned. And this is very from a client perspective, but maybe you will understand your client better afterwards. So the University of Denmark, we have 600,000 square meters all above Denmark, and we are the only university that owns their own buildings. So we should have quite a big interest to work with facility management. So yes, and this is the structure of the university. So I don't know if this is working. Yes. So we have all the institutes here, and I'm sitting in the campus service. So it's a supply function. So I'm sitting here. So we at the university, we have 5,000 employees and 10,000 customers, students. So there's some people to work with. This is just in brief the organization of the campus service, and I think it's very important for me to understand that, just take this one. Very important to me to understand that the client is not just the client. The client are actually 3 parts. So we have the facility management, where I'm sitting, and but we have also the projects. So when all you people building new things, then normally it's not the facility management, it's actually the project leaders from the client asking you to build something for us. And we have somebody, this is the real estate space management, they're looking about, do we have to build or can we use or refurbish some other things? So I'm actually sitting with my it's called BIM Contour, BIM Office. We are 6 people and a lot of students helping us. Trying to collect all the information of the buildings and hand them over to the people who need the informations. So I use the 3 parts of our organization, and I think this is also very important to understand how a life cycle for a client is, because of course it's very important when you build, you have 1-2 years, but this is just a small part in our perspectives on the way we're dealing with our buildings. So I just rearranged the 3 parts, and then you have in the middle, I don't know how many know them, it's called the facility management spiral. So you start in the end of the life cycle with some with some decisions. So somebody's looking on the square meters, do we have to build something new, or just can we refurbish, or what do we do? We have to build something new, we have to build a new building. So then you start to ask your project department. So we at the DTU, we have 40 people on the client side only managing projects from the client side. With all the advisors and the architects and engineers and constructors and so on. Then the next step, we build something, and after 2 years, at the facility management, we get the fine models and all the informations, and then we maintain the building. And then it's coming into our system, and we work with processes, with prognosis and space management and so on. And at some place, after 10 years, maybe we have to refurbish the building again and reuse the information. Or we say, okay, we don't build new. And there it's very important for me to say that the space management part, just to know as a client how many square meters do you have, is very important, because the best building is the building you don't build, because it's very sustainable. So it's very, very easy. It sounds very easy, but a lot of clients, now unfortunately there are not so many examples, don't know how square meters they actually have, for example. So we really have to be educated in some way how to use this new method, because it's not coming natural to us. Maybe to me now, but to a lot of other clients not. So maybe you can help them to understand this. So we at the BIM office, I'm sitting in the facility management, but we actually, when you're looking to process, when you have the phases here, planning, tender, construction, delivery, you have different parts here, like the FM part, you have the client demanding some new buildings, the advisors, architects and engineers working for us, and the constructors at the end. And we as a BIM contour, we're working actually and supporting the whole client organization with different documents. I will come into this as an example, this space management afterwards. So yeah, and this is also quite interesting, because I'm coming through the whole organizations all the time. So I ask people to talk together. You should talk with the facility management guy, because you are in this project, we had this problem and so on. So it's all about, again, about information, to share information and to reuse information. So another thing which is very good for us is that in the Danish context, the Danish authorities actually asked for this. So it's by law, as a public building owner, there's a little bit difference between state and municipal buildings and other buildings, but since 2008, in some way you have to use BIM methods. And there was a new requirement in 2013, which is a little bit more specified and more precisely. And since 2013, every public building owner, I'll just run quickly through the points, has to demand ICT coordination from their team. So point out one person, you have to make the management of all the models and the information. Managing digital building objects, so it's not just point clouds, but you have to work with objects in some way. So Google SketchUp is not good enough. You really have to work with objects and information objects and those things. And you have to ensure this in some way. We have digital communication, project web, like there was the question before, which is the best one, Dropbox or all the SharePoint, all the things. File sharing, of course, everybody's doing this, but we have to get to the next step to use the project web as a project leading tool, because there's a lot of more information inside, workflows, time schedules, and so on and so on. But it's a little bit hard to push the advisors in this direction to use this like a project tool, because a lot of people use it as a file sharing thing. But this is, in my eyes, just the first step to coming farther on. Then the digital tender. Of course, everybody would like to have things digital in, so that you also know what you get in when you have things that you have to switch or something like this. So you have to sign it out digitally. You already actually have to ask for object-based building models in competitions in the level of detail, level of detail 0 or 1 or something like this. But you can do some, like you see in all the big, in the city models, you can make some volume explanations, how big the building is, what's the impact of the building on the neighborhood, and so on and so on. So you have to use this, ask for this. Of course, digital delivery, so you get all the data digital. And also work with digital punch lists. So when there are mistakes in the building, you have to have some kind of digital tool to help you to register those things. So, and I will see all those things, we have to use this. but we used this the last, I don't know, yes, 5 or 6 years, because we can see that it's really creating value for us as a client. So we don't do it because we have to, we do it because we can see a meaning in those things. So this leads me to the next point. Why is BIM creating value for the client? I think I don't show this film. It's from Building Smart, Patrick McLeany. He's an American. He's very good to tell these histories, much better than I, so there's a little link. So he says, when you save $1 in the design, you save $20 in the assembly time, build the building, but the client, when he operates building operation optimization model, boom, he should save $60. And I can't see that we really save so much money, but because we're working with those models and this information's like 50, 100 years or something like this, so every time we can reuse information, it's a big opportunity for us, because we don't have to send an advisor out to look, okay, is this right, or do we have some point scans, and so on and so on. So there is something with this for sure. But I think we don't pointing out the question if this is creating value, the ICT things and BIM and so on. But in my point of view, it's very hard to make a business case or to measure the success things, because sometimes an architect gets a little bit more out of it, sometimes engineer gets a little bit more out of it, and so on. But this is the good thing. As a client, for sure, I will get better quality, and better quality. And this is quite important for me, because then I save money. I don't have to do things twice. And at the end, always one part is paying. And this is me, this is the client. And it's also the part getting the most value of all things. Because when all things are smooth and running and things are following this time schedule, then I get the value actually. And all the working methods, they support those things. Yes, I think I speak a little bit too fast, sorry. Yes, what we have done. So I used to be to meet my background, I'm an architect. As you can hear maybe in my accent, I'm actually German, but lived for 20 years in Denmark. And I worked with BIM since the late 90s in my project. So it's totally normal for me to draw things in Archicad or Revit, because it's just helping me. When I move a window, then I move on the plan drawing and all the things. So it's totally natural for me. And I started to teach 2 years at the university, and started 2010 to go full time into this facility management, my knowledge from the BIM. So when I come there, we had a lot of, I don't know how many square meters we're talking, I don't know, hundreds of square meters with folders and all thing. The D2 is built in the most of the D2 was built in the 70s on a green mark. So we have very fine categorized drawings, but they're analog and they're 3 times. So I don't really know where the original drawing and the right drawing is. So there was at different places. One is in the BIM office, the drawing office. One is on the building, and one is at the electrical department, for example. So it's very hard to find out, okay, where is the right drawing? Just to start there. Then the information from the supplies, the document information, was not really structured. So we get every time things in different ways. We don't have built-in objects, so not all the things was precisely tagged. You can think about a classification, but that you call a ventilation system vent for ventilation 01 or something like this. So there's a big problem, because people naming things different in some way. Yes, and from this the request was better quality. So we want to know if the information is right. It's very good when it's right. It's not so. It doesn't matter when it's wrong, but we want to know. You have to check if it's wrong or right, just to know if it's right or wrong. Saving time through this. We want also to look onto the processes, workflow, information flow in the organization, how to make this better or digital, through digital work methods. We want to have a better overview or control to the planning and the design. And we will ensure that when we document the revisions in some way, because we have a lot of small revisions, but they're very hard to track when you have different people going around fixing things and so on. And the only way, so 2012, was actually to start to digitize all the information. So the first case, it was documents. Have a precise linkage between information details with standards and classifications. So I think it was very inspired from this, from the railway, that you click on an object and then you just get a PDF drawing. This is totally fine because you get the information. This is totally the same strategy we're working with, just that you get the information. It's very important for us to have all the information at one place. We have copies all over the place. We want to have one drawing, which is digital, and then you have to print out the drawing or look at the drawing. We are just finished our first EDM, Information Delivery Manual, from the Building Smart, where we precisely documentate how we want to get structured our digital information when we get them. Because when we have so many square meters, we can't get all the informations in different things. And there we're building on the IFC things and classification. So we started actually in the first in 2011 to demand all material digital. So a lot of those things was PDFs, but it's the first step. So maybe it shows we are quite, we have models now and working with the things, but there's quite a long journey to come to the models. So I will say to everybody, just look inside and get structured the information that you have. One example, because of this, why I focus so much on documents for 5 years ago. When we have a building here and the facility management department says, okay, that something is not really working, and the real estate department looking at the square meter said, okay, we have to refurnish some of the toilets there, for example, and build through. Then they say, okay, project leader, we have to build some things, we have to do some things, and then they come to me, or we have a web platform, so they have 7/24 access to the information, so that advisors on their self go inside the database and find the things and borrow the things they want to have, because they much better know what they want and they can see what we have. So maybe they find a TIFF drawing, a scanned old drawing from the 70s. Some CAD drawings, sometimes DVG, sometimes MicroStation, sometimes I don't know. We have started a little bit with Revit, IFC models. We have a little bit now through the last 5 years because we had a lot of new buildings, a lot of PDFs, and I think we have now, it was 60,000 documents in our. And the documents is CAD drawings, Revit, IFC, and so on. So there are a lot of information just to structure this. Or they come to us and ask physically people what is the information. So the interesting thing that a lot of those things are actually still documents because there's so old information. So therefore it was very important for me to look on the documents. But now, as I said, the last 3-4 years we get some Revit models or some IFC models because we worked with these new buildings and so on. So this is the other part. The important thing to store those information at one place. So we have the documents, okay, document system, that's not the big thing. But when you have Revit, we found out actually we should have looked IFC before, because there with this proprietary formats, it's an issue for the building owner, because when you want to open your Revit model in 15 years, I will doubt that we can, just looking back to AutoCAD architecture or Point or what it is. So just inside the Autodesk community there, this is really an issue. So I will recommend to use open standards. Yes, and yeah, there we have the geometrical information, of course, but and this is for the space management. For example, we have some Revit drawings there, and we have also some AutoCAD drawings there. There are just some polylines where we get the area information. But we try really to use models and CAD drawings only for geometrical information. All the other informations, like what's the surface of the floor in this room or something like this, we have in a relation in a SQL database. So we try really to empty the models and the CAD drawings and only use them for geometrical information, because who can open a Revit or who can open AutoCAD, or so it's very much more easy to have them in a database, and then you can have an interface and you can have all the information. So we have this part, and then we have a lot of other informations in the campus service. So we have something from the electrical world, CAD++. We have, of course, the documents. We have some other SQL databases, like the person's working room information, where the person is living, and so on. Then we have some informations outside from external databases, like some energy data, help desk thing, and so on. And yeah, we try to collect all those different databases together, and then we have a viewer to those databases showing the information you need, like on a mobile phone or on a computer or something like this. So it's a lot about combining different data together, and try to do this with databases in the ground. Yes. So yeah, and we are here. We have models. We have also very fine visualization model of the D2 campus, which we also put in this Unity game engine. But maybe we should look to some other more intelligent programs that can combine. But the project leaders are very happy to show this fine, flashy things and so on. But it's more about the information, I think. Yes, and yeah, what we should not have done maybe, or where I would recommend when you start with now there are not so many clients, but maybe you can help the client when you advise him. So we underestimated for sure the change management. As changing the process is quite hard, and it takes really years just to find out here's an example when we get information. We have information here, then they work with the information in the projects, and sorry, the other one, yeah. And then we have to get the information inside, and who's checking, is the information right, and when can we show the information again, and so on. So it's really hard, and it's only inside our organization. I don't talk about all the other organizations outside, the advisors and the constructors and so on. So this takes a really long time. And we should have started farther before, some years ago, to focus more on the IFC model, because it's very nice that we get this nice models, very detailed from the new projects. But actually we can't ensure that they will be updated, because they are so detailed in the facility management. I have maybe half a person doing some updates and models, otherwise we are not drawing. So that's very important to have a simple model, and we're looking forward to use a simple IFC model, for example, and this SQL database, and then just working with this. So we're getting the information, and through all this whole life cycle, the next, I don't know, 50 years, we've used those simple things that we can deal with. And then when we come to the project again, we have to work with the project. Then we take this from the archive and say, okay, we have this from the archive. Hopefully there's an IFC that you can open it. And we have this information updated, so we know where the doors are, where the walls are. But yeah, you have to find out where it is. So, but for sure, but it's sure that you know where the right information is and where the wrong information is. So the two big points, I will say. So the lesson learned. So I will see in facility management, when we're talking models, it's totally enough. We have this. I think it's comparable with the lots or the level of details and all things, but there are a lot of, I heard there are a lot of different definitions of level of details. Lots, somebody told me also that it's not level of details, it's level of disasters, but nobody knows really what is it, what we demand, because when you want a drawing 1 to 100, you know what you get, but there are the lots, but we will learn it for sure. So I think in facility management, I will say in facility management, it's totally, whoa, sorry, that was too fast. Use the level of detail, 2 or 200 or so, but focus on the properties. The properties are very, very important, like guarantee and material, for example, and so on, for the facility management. I will say for the facility management, needed level of detailation is this. We don't need those detailed things. Then just click on the objects, and then get the old drawing in 1 to 5, and then you can see how the things are. So that's much easier to update. And this, when we building a new building, when we did on our own digitalize one of our CAD drawings. So this is actually the objects we're working with, not anymore. So the important thing is for me the objects. So I have a stair. How it looks like, I just put a property on it. It's a wooden chair, or it's a steel chair, stair or something. This doesn't matter. It's just the geometrical representation. This is for sure quite different from when you're doing things and working with things in projects, but in the facility management it's totally enough. And then I really would like to say that all our men going out have this handheld device and find the information and so on. And we are not there, unfortunately, but I'm working on the process. Now it's they're logging into the computer or find the drawing, then they print it out, going out on the site, doing the things, mark it on the drawing, then we get the drawing, and then we put it. No, sometimes just scan the drawing, sometimes we update some things. So, but this is quite working now. So now I can take the next step to give people digital devices and try to do the same thing digital, for example. So my recommendation is to clients. No, there are no clients, but to get control over your spaces. So start to digitalize and manage your documents. And keep it simple. Also, we don't have a problem to get information because we have information overflow. It's more when I say my department is doing information, I'm an information broker. We have to only find the right information and help the people to find the right information. And it get worse and worse in the future for sure. In a simple user interface, always looking to the iPhone, one button, and there's happening a lot of things beyond the iPhone, but the user is only seeing the easiest thing. And we technicians have to do this in the background. A lot of mix of formats, but very important, open and well-defined formats like TIFF, PDF, IFC, and so on, for the long-term archiving, because our houses are standing there 50 years. And be aware of classification. You can use I heard the CCS classification from Denmark, for example. So it's very important to tag things in the same way and ask the advisors to do this when they deliver the project information. And focus on the database, on the information. the geometrical information, because I don't show, we have the models, but I don't show them because the models is fine, but when you're doing a facility management, you can out and you can see the things. So there's not the motivation to look in the model really, like in virtual VDC, virtual design constructions, where we build the thing digital before we build them, because in facility management, you can go out and look in them for real. So why do you look in a model? So that's very important with this, but the information you can't see in the real world. So this is important, and the same thing I heard many times before. It's not the technical, but the people are the challenging, because you have to get people to work in other ways. And then it's very important for me, because we have a lot of ideas when we have this BIM control, my department here, but it's very important to get all the organization with us. So it's always not to get a long way, just to get the whole information of all the processes. And then you don't have a rocket. I think you have a train or something like this going slowly on. So hopefully, this is at the issue. Hopefully you, I could give you an understanding for the client and BIM. There's a long way. We are ordering, and we're making contracts and decide what we want to have, and we are the part in all the building projects not really know what he's ordering, because there are not many clients who have the experience or the knowledge about BIM and all the things. So there's a big opportunity for you to help the clients to understand what he can do with all things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dėkojame ponui Lampe. Turime laiko vienam klausimui iš programėlės konferencijos, taigi.
Where do you keep all of the documents and information? Do you have your own infrastructure or data storage cloud provider?
Yes, we have it's very important for us that we will own all our data, and it has to be on our own servers. So we have our own, because that's the good thing, because it's a university, so we have the infrastructure for this, but we have our own server dedicated to our own data. So this is very, very important for us, because, yeah. So, in addition to this question, any common data environment, do you just store or also manage? No, we manage, sorry. This 60,000 documents, I said, we manage them. So when we have to, and you can open them, yes, for sure, yes.